Hello, my name is Kelly Laudermilk, and I am taking the ESOL assessment and appraisal course through Fort Hays State University, and this is my digital media presentation. Assessments administered, that's really based on school districts wherever you are, and it's based on whatever your state mandates for their assessments, and also then whatever your local school district mandates for their assessments. The norm data assessments that we use for our district are the NWEA MAP test. We do that for reading, language, and math 3 times per year. And typically, most schools have some kind of a norm data test given. We also do the DIBELS and the QPS. Those are both screeners for language arts. One of them is for the DIBELS is for comprehension and fluency, and the QPS is for phonemic awareness skills and phonics. We personally in our district have iReady as our curriculum for math, and so there's a diagnostic test that we also give our students 3 times per year for math as well. The Kansas State assessments are given in May to every child, and then the KELPA is given to all ELL students in March or April, depending upon when they have set the window for testing for that year. Obviously, there's many different informal assessments that happen in a classroom. Some of those are classroom projects, quizzes, hands-on activities, student presentations, journals, teacher observation, and then tests. So those are just a few that I listed. When it comes to language deficiency versus a student that has special needs, I really like this quote. It said, in its blueprint for reform, the U.S. Department of Education in 2010, the Obama administration stated that an important goal for the United States as a nation is to produce high school graduates who are fully bilingual, multicultural, and ready to compete in the global economy. If that's the case, then we should regard students who begin school already knowing another language besides English as having a head start and capitalize on their linguistic strengths, helping them feel smart rather than labeled at risk. And then we're going to enrich their school experiences as well as our own. There's many things that we can learn from students that are culturally and linguistically diverse as a teacher and then as a classroom as well. Sometimes, depending upon the amount of diversity in your school, it could even be an impact on your whole school. Different religions and different cultural beliefs could be integrated throughout your whole day. That's just my personal opinion. Designing a system for reporting the appropriate information for each stakeholder can be overwhelming because every kid is so different. And when you add the linguistic diversity to that, it makes it even more complex. So I just listed out some bullet points of a few things that you can do if your school is not recognizing that the assessments given and the norm data that we get from those assessments is not always the most accurate for determining whether a child has special needs or not. So the first bullet point is recognize, acknowledge, and give credit by differing methods, for what students have achieved and experienced in a range of contexts. So it doesn't just have to be based on the norm data. It could be report cards. It could be grades. It could be coming in and having a team that observes in your classroom while students are doing student-led presentations. The next bullet point says, increase students' awareness of their strengths and weaknesses and provide encouragement and opportunities to enhance motivation and personal development. My school specifically does this through data notebooks. The students know where they started, they know where they are, and they know that they've set an individual goal with me through an independent conversation, not with other kids involved, but just them individually and working on their specific areas of strength and celebrating those, and then working on the areas of weakness where they need to improve. Help schools support the development of student diverse talents and skills. This is what I'm talking about with celebrating what families bring to the table. There's different religions and different cultural celebrations that can be integrated when you're talking about different regions of the United States. Just just making those sure those parents know that we're supporting their culture and we celebrate their culture with them as well. And then in turn, we're learning about something new. And I just think it fosters the learning for everybody. And it provides a safe place for them to feel comfortable to come and share in our school. Provide a summary document of students' qualities and achievements that can be used by others. That's kind of the data notebook as well, but it lets the stakeholders and maybe your student intervention team know that this student doesn't just have some gaps in their learning, but they also have things that they're really good at. And maybe they do have some gaps in their learning, but we've made huge gains from where they started out at the beginning of the year. And just make sure that you're always documenting whatever those strategies are that you're trying so that if it is successful, other teachers that get that student can know exactly what was used to be effective for that student for the next year. Because it might be that they're taken to sit and they say, well, why wasn't the student brought last year? And you can prove to them with your data that they really didn't need to be seen for special services or on the sit team. They really just need this intervention or this strategy used, and it was proven to be successful for me. Compared to English, for how long has the child been speaking and exposed to their home language? You kind of have to know where they are. You have to do kind of your own mini language assessment to figure out where they are in the language acquisition process. They might have been at a school previously um, in a completely different country, or they might have been exposed to some English and maybe they don't speak any English at home. You just kind of have to know where they are. Um, to me, that's done the best way through having a home visit and doing, questionnaire conversation with parents at home. You get to know, their living situations. You get to know a little bit about their culture, um, how they operate their household, and just let you know if there's other concerns evident. Maybe there's not food. Maybe a parent hasn't gotten a job yet, and you can be a support system for helping even in those areas. And then have developmentally appropriate strategies. Have they been delivered systematically? If if there hasn't been a strategy tried, there's really no point in bringing a student to the sit team for special needs intervention when there hasn't been a plan in place prior to that. And, and I think that plan, that sit team needs to be with parents involved, and have those strategies produce significant differences in the child's learning and development. If you've tried multiple strategies and they're not working, and you brought the parents in and you know where everybody is on that sit team, and you've come to the conclusion that they truly do have a learning deficit, then that's when you have the special needs referral. But before that point, all these conversations need to happen so that parents are in the loop, you're in the loop, and your building leadership team is in the loop on the interventions that you've tried with this student so far. These are just three of the methods that I think are some of the most beneficial methods. The first one is the Sheltered Instruction Observation Protocol. Is interactive application of activities and manipulatives to ensure that student comprehension is happening by providing the bridge between with students to link the new terms to old learning, really hitting on that prior knowledge. One of the key charts that I use during this method is the KWL chart. What do you know? What do you want to learn? And what have you learned? The next is the Kala method. This is very explicitly taught. It follows this explicit sequence, and it's really effective if you use it explicitly. It starts with preparation, then presentation, then practice, then evaluation, then expansion. It really focuses on the metacognitive connected with the cognitive, and the social effective strategies. One example of this is I used a picture method for the water cycle, and we practiced going over explicitly what those steps were in the water cycle. And it was always modeled by me first, okay, and then they practice it, and then we even did a song with it, and then the evaluation, and then the kids can expand on it based on what they know. And I let them use their L1 to write and draw pictures about what they know. And typically they can add to it with their L1 and also connect with their L2, and it just really helps to bridge that gap of the language proficiency. Method 3 is the integrated content based method. It integrates speaking, reading, and writing. I love this method. It takes a lot more planning on the teacher's part because if you're integrating the subjects, you're going to have to be really, you're going to really have to have your scope and sequence for the year and know what you need and know what connects and doesn't connect. Um, and takes quite a while to get this method down pat. But if you can integrate content, it's been proven to help students with um, that are cognitively and linguistically diverse. It's a very effective model that helps them really connect prior learning um, to current learning. My last slide is parental and community involvement. These are just some things that at schools I've been at, they have tried and it's proven to be successful. Make your initial contact with parents always a positive. We called it caught you being good. And you kind of had a caught you being good slip, and you would make sure that you had at least 5 a week. So pick 5 students that you want to focus on for the week and find them doing something good. And it doesn't even have to be a big deal. One of them might be um, they helped pick up trash off of the lunchroom floor. Just something simple that you find them doing good. And parents love to hear positive first, and that just opens the line for communication in the future. The second bullet point, offer services and events that bring parents to school. Math game nights. Parents love to play board games with their kids, but a lot of times they either don't have the resources to, or they don't know what's out there and how to play them. So if you're there and you can have translators or their kids can translate for them the directions on how to play those games and you've practiced some of them previously to the game night, then the parents love getting involved with that. We did ours with a free hot dog meal. Food is always a great incentive for a lot of our families. We had a dodgeball tournament for a student that had cancer, and we were raising money for them. And it was just a night for parents to come out, and then they could kind of walk through and tour the school when they weren't um, in the tournament currently. And it kind of just gave them not such of a structured. There was no guidelines. There was not a lot of fear. It was our building's open, our rooms are open. When you're not playing, come tour the rooms and talk to the teacher if you want to. So it's just a really fun night. Another one we did was a reading night. We called it Curb Night, curl up and read a book. And parents were able to bring comfy stuff, comfy blankets and stuffed animals, and they just found a comfy spot around the school and read books. Read books to their parents. What was another one I see? Oh, we also did a reading night with themed rooms, which was kind of fun. One was like a superhero room, so all in that room there was all superhero books. Another one was a mystery room. Um, just we made all the genres into rooms, and it was really fun. The parents really loved that, and some teachers were even dressed up in costumes for their room. So it just made it really fun for the parents to come and be involved in the classrooms and not feel like it was such a structured setting. It was fun. And then we also did a school drive-in night where parents were allowed to help their kids make something for a drive-in. Some kids made little cars that out of cardboard. Other kids just brought their blankets and pillows and watched a movie with their parents. Watchdog Dads is a great one. Put a survey on the enrollment form that allows parents to put their own input in there and leave a spot for them to leave comments where they can say where are ways that we can volunteer, what are days that you're off from work that we could have you come volunteer if we need you? Are you willing to volunteer? What are things you want to see the school doing differently? And this is just basically how I would do it. This is my reference page.